Subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon to never miss an update.
I think the sports industry in India is very mystified. You think that when you're working in an industry like the sports industry, you'll be chilling it with athletes, you'll be hanging out at the stadium, you'll be, spending your days with MS Dhoni and Virat Kohli. But that is really not the case, at least not in my role. There are various opportunities out there, but try and find out the right fit for you.
The cricket fever is something that India is not unknown of. We today have someone who has this cricket fever and has always battled with it, and somehow he made a way for himself. We today have Ketan. Ketan is an ardent fan of cricket, and he has loved the sport from the very beginning. And from there on, he decided that this is something that he is going to make a career from. Ketan, welcome to the show today, and I'm really looking forward to having a word with you.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. Thank you for having me.
Ketan, looking back, tell me a little bit about where you're from, where did it all start for you, and how did you go about deciding that this is the sport that I want to take seriously?
I'm from Pune. I've been here my entire life. And growing up, like every other kid in the country, I used to play a lot of cricket. I used to play for my club. And everyone thinks that they'll play for their country someday. But, sooner or later, the myth is shattered. You realize there's only 11 people who are lucky enough to have that privilege of playing for their country. In 11th and 12th, I stopped playing the game. But what happened is in my engineering days, I enrolled in an engineering college. And I realized I came across that the college organizes a national level engineering event every year. The event is completely organized by the students itself, and the faculty just sort of guides us. And everyone wants to take up some sort of extracurricular in their college, so I took up that event. I was one of the lead organizers for the event, and that's when I thought that maybe I could do something in this industry, because I was always passionate for it. It didn't feel like work. And at this when I was in my fourth year, you could hear a lot of people talking about how this industry was really going to grow, not just cricket, but also the other sports. And you could see that by how the Pro Kabaddi League was faring, the success of the Pro Kabaddi League, and how much the investment was being made by various teams, by various corporates, by various football clubs from overseas into the teams like into ISL. So I thought that this is the right time to do something in this. And by my fourth year, I decided that I want to give it a shot and see if it works out for me.
Right. A lot of times what happens, Ketan, is you said that your parents have been, typical corporate people,
Yeah, yeah.
So this is what happens in Indian families. When you mention that you want to do something related to sports or related to something that they have not seen growing in the past, they have inhibitions about it.
Yeah.
Did you also face something of that sort when you were growing up, when you were in your engineering days, where your parents would have said that, padhai pe dhyan do, it would take you to places?
Touchwood, that wasn't the case for me. My parents have been thoroughly supportive of what I wanted to do, and they said, as long as you're having fun, as long as you think that this is the right thing for you to do, you should go ahead for it. And there were a bit of doubts, because no one in my family is from this background or is doing something in this industry. So that talking to a few people who work in this industry, who are kind of experienced 10, 12, 15 years of experience in the industry, help them to realize that this is something which is going to grow in the next few years in India.
Ketan, tell us a little bit about the internship, the opportunities that Sporjo was giving up, and how did you come to know about it? Where did it all start?
By March, I had more or less decided that I wanted to pursue a career in this, and I was sort of thinking on two lines: whether to get directly a job in the industry somewhere, or to do a post graduation in the sports management domain. And but March, COVID happened, and things were stuck. I was stuck at home, and that's when I came across this platform. And what immediately struck me about this platform is that it's sort of the middle path between taking a job directly and going for a post graduation directly. taking a graduate study, postgraduate for that matter, is a lot of investment. It's a lot of money, and I wasn't sure that I was ready to make that kind of commitment yet to this industry. So I think Sporjo was the perfect fit for me because it was the middle ground. Because they try to identify roles for you that you might be good at, and then they train you for those roles, and then they help you get those roles.
Ketan, so that we can understand and our audiences can know it a little bit better, tell us the exact procedure. What happens when you actually apply for this program? What are the steps that you go through?
The first step that happens when you apply for Sporjo is the SPORSCORR assessment. Where they have this assessment where they look at your passion level, they look at your knowledge of a particular domain that you've chosen before that the assessment takes place, and they also look at your personality. They have a bunch of questions, and they try to analyze that all of that and try to suggest roles that might be suitable for you. So I did that, and I had chosen operations as the domain. I got a satisfactory score, but the personality section revealed that I could do content, digital media content role. So the second step naturally for me was, I have no prior background. I have no idea of what digital media content is. I have no idea of what kind of roles are present in that digital media space out there. So a very natural choice for me was to take up a consultancy with the CEO, Srini sir himself. So we spoke for about a couple of hours. He explained what kind of roles are there, what a digital media manager does, how he chalks out the calendar, what strategy he looks at, how he coordinates with the players, the staff, the management, or whatever it is. And I think that 2 hours of interaction with Srini sir sold me that this is something I should do. And again, the next logical step for me was to take up the SPORPREP platform, where they have content modules where they take you through what that space really is. So they'll tell you about what digital media means for the industry, how to leverage the power of digital media, what kind of various digital media platforms are out there, and what kind of content works for what kind of platform.
Right. Tell me a little bit about that whole experience. What all were the things that you learned, and how did that change your perspective in the longer run?
So the biggest difference that pre-Sporjo me and post-Sporjo me has, that I'm thinking like a sports executive now. So a lot of times when people want to make a career in this industry, I've seen this in some of my friends, they only think about it from a fan's perspective. So they talk about what a player should do, what a team should do, who should they buy in the auction. But what the Sporjo process taught me is that not just think like a fan. Don't just talk about how the team can improve on the field, because there are hundreds of people for that, and there are professionals who will do that. You've got coaches, you've got physios, you've got analysts who do that. But what an executive should do is try to make sure how the team will perform better off the field, be it the marketing space, be it the sponsorship space, be it the operation space. So that is the biggest difference that I've seen in myself pre and post sport.
Tell me a little bit about the people who make sure that this learning happens to you at Sporjo, who can go ahead and then create a difference in the kind of workspaces that they're going to join.
Yeah. So the brain and heart and soul of Sporjo is Srini sir, of course. What he told me is, just go ahead and try and analyze the social media strategies for various IPL teams out there. And he said, I'm sure that you'll come across certain things which are unique to some IPL teams, and you'll try to understand why they're doing so. So I did that. I spent around a week for that, and I tried to understand that. I went through all the content that they're posting, and one thing I realized that is that every team out there has a different strategy. A Rajasthan Royals has a different strategy than Chennai Super Kings and a Mumbai Indians. A strategy works for them depending on what kind of fan base they have.
Tell us a bit about how Sportz Interactive happened. You said that your responsibility is going to be on the text commentary side. When you were taking that interview, when you were being part of a batch who is going to find their own ways, how did Sportz Interactive happen to you, and what was the whole process that you went through?
So I came across the Sportz Interactive platform. The first time I heard about that company was after Srini sir mentioned it to me during one of our conversations. And I was following them on LinkedIn, trying to see if they've got any opportunities that could match my requirements. And it just so happened that they had a post out that they wanted text commentators for their team, and they required freshers for that. There were other roles also, but that required some kind of prior experience in the industry. So they had text commentary, which a role which was available, and I just applied to them. I told them that I've come across this Sporjo platform. I've taken their test. I've been with Srini sir, not been with. I've spoken with him, and he has suggested that I apply for this role. And that's when Sportz Interactive, the process started, and they had their interview rounds and HR rounds, and finally they offered me a job.
Ketan, your message to a lot of individuals who are coming from different backgrounds, who don't think that they fit in their particular backgrounds that they're in right now, and they want to branch out. What do you want to tell them?
So I think it's always good to follow your dreams, but do so with the right mindset, because I think the sports industry in India is very mystified. You think that when you're working in an industry like the sports industry, you'll be chilling with athletes, you'll be hanging out at the stadium, you'll be spending your days with MS Dhoni and Virat Kohli. But that is really not the case, at least not in my role. There are various opportunities out there, but try and find out the right fit for you. I only used to think that the sports industry is only about operations, doing the on-ground operations or the team operations. And I used to think that digital media isn't really big in the industry, because I had no prior experience of digital media coming from an engineering background. So what it did, it's demystified a lot of things for me. It's put a lot of things in perspective for me. It's made me aware of a lot of roles. And I think if you know what kind of roles are in their industry, you can try and think that this might be a suitable role for me, or this is something I should focus on, or this is something I could have fun doing.
Thank you very much, Ketan, for your time today, and it was nice talking to you. People who want to know more about Sporjo, they can look at the description below. There's a link. Thank you very much.
Thanks a lot.